Hey, you. Ever feel like your brain's running on fumes by mid-morning?
Yeah, like wading through mental molasses.
Totally. In 2025, with all the constant updates, endless information streams, and just the pressure to stay ahead, that feeling is, well, it feels pretty normal now.
It really does.
Yeah.
But what if it didn't have to be?
Exactly. What if you could actually unlock sharper focus, maybe bulletproof your memory a bit, and build some real cognitive resilience?
And crucially, without dedicating hours to some, complicated new routine, you'll ditch in a week.
Right. That's where this gets interesting. We're looking at Michelle Schoffro Cook's Boost Your Brain Power in 60 Seconds.
And what's fascinating is this core idea, even with the craziness of modern life, especially now in 2025, really small shifts can have surprisingly big results for your brain.
Forget those all-day seminars or the brain training apps you never quite stick with.
Yeah, exactly. Our mission in this deep dive is to pull out the key wisdom from this source and turn it into a really practical, no-nonsense plan.
We're talking actionable steps you can weave into your day. Some literally take less than a minute.
Steps to sharpen your mind, boost your memory, and, optimize your brain power so you can actually thrive, not just survive in 2025 and, beyond.
Absolutely. It's about realizing that in today's world, where being mentally agile is basically your superpower. Some of the biggest drains on that power aren't these huge, obvious problems.
No, they're often sneaky, hiding in plain sight.
Right, in our everyday routines, like what we eat, what we're exposed to.
Which makes sense why the first step isn't necessarily about adding something new.
But about maybe identifying and ditching the things that are actively holding us back.
Okay, so let's talk about these hidden saboteurs. The first big one the source material zeroes in on is inflammation. Specifically, the inflammation driven by our modern diets.
The standard American diet, right.
Exactly. Often packed with, unhealthy fats, way too much sugar, loads of highly processed foods. It basically sets off this constant, low-grade inflammatory fire throughout our bodies.
And that fire reaches your brain.
Oh, absolutely. It affects brain function directly.
Okay, let's paint a picture for you listening. You're juggling, say, AI tools for work, maybe building a side hustle.
Or just navigating remote work demand.
Right. You need sustained energy, sharp focus. They're not luxuries anymore. They're essential fuel.
And those inflammatory foods, they're like throwing sand in the engine.
Yeah. You know that afternoon slump after, like a sugary coffee drink?
Or that fuzzy feeling where making a simple decision feels impossible.
Totally. The source even mentions the brain-gut axis, that connection.
That two-way street.
Yeah.
It's huge. It influences everything. Mood, stability, even just remembering where you put your keys.
And it's wild how these modern foods are just normal now.
So convenient, so heavily marketed. They're designed to make us want more.
So we don't always connect that mid-afternoon brain fog with the donut we had hours earlier.
Precisely. And it's not just about energy dips. That chronic inflammation actually interferes with how your neurons communicate.
Hindering creative problem solving, memory formation.
All of it, those crucial mental processes.
Okay, so let's get practical. What's the 2025 anti-inflammation action plan for this week? Give us some quick wins.
The source lays out 3 pretty immediate steps.
Yeah.
First one takes seconds. Become a hidden sugar detective.
Okay, I like that. Sugar detective.
Yeah. Just commit this week, each day, to identifying and avoiding one source of hidden sugar.
And where does it hide?
Oh, everywhere. Words ending in O's, corn syrup, obviously, but also sauces, dressings, bread, even those healthy snack bars.
Sneaky and the swap.
Swap it for something simple. Fruit, a handful of plain nuts. Small change, potentially big impact.
Got it. Sugar sleuthing. What's step 2 for our brain food upgrade?
Step 2 takes just a few minutes at mealtime. Look at your cooking oils.
Okay.
For just one meal each day this week, try replacing those common inflammatory fats like vegetable oil, canola oil, especially when heated high,
Right.
with good quality extra virgin olive oil. Notice the taste, sure, but also maybe how you feel afterwards. It's packed with brain-friendly stuff.
Unlike those processed oils. Okay, EVOO for one meal. Step 3 sounds like it needs a bit more planning.
It does, just a little bit. Step 3 is about being more mindful with lunch, especially if you work from home. Plan for minimally processed options.
So, ditch the chips or the pre-made sandwich?
Maybe swap them for nuts and seeds. The source calls them omega-3 powerhouses, which is spot on. And try to work in more beans and lentils.
Fiber kings, right, for the gut.
Exactly. Key for a happy gut, which means a happier brain.
The source brings up Michael Jordan here. It's a great analogy.
Right, someone at the absolute peak physically.
But that level of performance demands incredible mental focus, too. You can't fuel a machine like that with junk and expect perfection.
It really underscores that fundamental link between fuel and mental sharpness.
That consistent peak performance, whether it's hitting a game winner or navigating a complex business deal in 2025.
It hinges on paying attention to your internal environment, removing those subtle things that erode focus.
Okay, so we start by cleaning up the diet to cut inflammation. But the source then smoothly moves to another set of invisible threats.
Yeah, the next area we need to look at detoxifying, so to speak.
What is it?
The second key takeaway is about shielding your brain from everyday toxins.
Toxins? Like what?
The idea is that certain heavy metals, aluminum, lead, mercury, and also chemicals in things like fragrance products and plastics, can act as neurotoxins. They can potentially damage brain cells and disrupt how they talk to each other.
And in 2025, it feels like exposure is just everywhere.
It really does. The source mentions how exposure pathways multiply travel, different urban environments, the sheer volume of consumer goods, air quality worries.
It sounds a bit daunting, actually.
It can feel that way, but the key point is these aren't just abstract issues. They can directly interfere with clear memory and sharp thinking.
So protecting your brain barrier becomes crucial for that cognitive agility everyone needs now.
Absolutely. It's a competitive advantage, really.
So what are the practical, actionable steps for this week? How do we create a bit more of a toxin-free zone for our brains?
Okay, 3 tangible steps again.
Yeah.
First, super quick. Become aware of fragrances in your home.
Okay.
Make a conscious choice to swap heavily fragranced products, laundry soap, fabric softener for unscented versions. The source even suggests simple things like vinegar or baking soda for some tasks. And definitely avoid those plug-in air fresheners and sprays.
Because of phthalates.
Exactly. They can contain harmful phthalates, linked to various health concerns, maybe even impacting the brain.
Makes sense. Those artificial smells can be overwhelming anyway. Okay, next toxin shielding step.
Step 2. Take a look at things like antacids and cookware. If you regularly use aluminum-containing antacids or cook with aluminum pots and pans, consider switching to alternatives. The source mentions the controversial but ongoing discussion about potential links between excess aluminum and brain disease risk.
So better safe than sorry with readily available alternatives.
Got it. And the third step sounds really relevant today. It is. Step 3 is about your water. Start filtering your drinking water.
Why? Aging infrastructure.
Precisely. Even a simple filter can significantly reduce exposure to heavy metals like lead, cadmium, other stuff leaching from old pipes. The source really emphasizes this as non-negotiable for 2025 brain health.
It's interesting. The source kind of hints that people who naturally lean towards minimalism or clean living might be minimizing toxin exposure without even realizing it. Simplifying your environment might just boost cognitive function as a side effect.
That's a great point. When you're in high-stakes situations, reducing any unnecessary cognitive load, even from subtle environmental stuff, helps. It's about supporting optimal brain function inside and out.
Okay, so we've tackled reducing negatives, bad foods, toxins. Now let's switch gears. How do we actively boost brain power? What can we start doing?
Right, this brings us to takeaway number 3. Actively fueling neuroplasticity through strategic movement and learning.
Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change.
Exactly. The core idea is that physical exercise isn't just for your body. It boosts blood flow to the brain, bringing oxygen and nutrients. It even helps grow the hippocampus key for memory.
And the learning part.
Simultaneously, continuous learning new skills, new ideas builds and strengthens connections between brain cells, enhancing memory and cognitive flexibility.
This feels incredibly important for 2025. With everything changing so fast, adaptability is key.
It's the ultimate superpower, really. Neuroplasticity is your secret weapon in this evolving landscape. But it's very much use it or lose it.
And the source stresses the combo, right? Physical and mental exercise together.
Yes, the synergy is powerful. Exercise provides the fuel, the oxygen. New learning provides the mental workout, building the wiring.
So practical steps. How do we bake this into our week?
Okay, 3 actions here. First, schedule physical activity. Aim for at least 30 minutes of brisk activity, something that gets your heart rate up.
Like a fast walk.
A fast walk totally counts. Do that at least 5 times this week. Get that blood pumping to the brain.
All right, 30 minutes, 5 times. Schedule. Step 2 for boosting neuroplasticity.
Step 2 is all about novelty. Choose one new small thing to learn or do this week.
Small? Like what?
Could be trying a new recipe, learning a few phrases in another language, great for global teams, or even just taking a different route on your walk.
Forces the brain off autopilot.
Exactly. It forces your brain out of its rut and builds new connections, makes learning feel less like a chore.
I like that. And the third step to supercharge adaptability.
Integrate brain exercise with physical movement. Listen to educational podcasts or audiobooks while you're doing that brisk walk.
Double dipping.
Pretty much. Physical benefits plus mental stimulation, hitting two brain-boosting birds with one stone.
The source uses Elon Musk as an illustration here, operating across diverse, complex industries.
Yeah, it shows that demand for constant learning, pivoting, applying knowledge in new ways. Your brain needs that regular stretching.
Like cognitive exercise to stay agile.
Okay, it's about intentionally pushing your boundaries, seeking growth. Like a musician practicing scales.
All right, we've covered cutting the bad, adding the good through activity, now supporting the brain from the inside out.
This leads us to our fourth and final key takeaway. Optimizing your internal environment specifically, your gut health, and getting key nutrients.
The gut-brain axis again?
That crucial communication network. A healthy gut plays a huge role in producing neurotransmitters, reducing overall inflammation, and even protecting against cellular damage linked to cognitive decline.
And this feels super relevant with 2025 stress levels, right? And stress can really impact the gut.
Oh, absolutely. The source points out how stress directly hits your gut, often called the second brain.
And a healthy gut supports mood, energy, focus.
All vital for resilience against those 2025 pressures. Plus, our modern diets often miss key micronutrients the brain needs to function optimally.
Making targeted support important for peak performance and long-term health.
Exactly.
So, quick wins here. How do we optimize our inner brain environment this week?
3 main actions, plus a bonus. First, take seconds. Consider a high-quality probiotic supplement daily.
Specific strains.
Look for well-researched ones, like from the Lactobacillus or Bifidobacterium families. An imbalanced gut messes with brain building blocks and immune response.
Okay, probiotic. Check. Next internal support step.
Next quick one. Consciously include sources of omega-3 fatty acids every single day.
Walnuts, chia seeds, fish oil.
Perfect examples. Now, sprinkle chia on breakfast, grab walnuts for a snack, maybe a fish oil supplement. Omega-3s are essential for brain cell membranes and communication. Think of them as brain lube.
Got it. Omega-3s daily. And the third key step for inner brain health.
Actively incorporate more brain-boosting anti-inflammatory foods daily. Think vibrant stuff. Blueberries, cherries, pomegranates.
Spices too.
Yes. Turmeric, curcumin, add them to cooking or consider a supplement. And don't forget healthy fats from olives and extra virgin olive oil. Aim for variety, lots of color.
And you mentioned a bonus tip.
Yes, the bonus. Consider adding a B-complex vitamin, especially focusing on B12 and folate. They're strongly linked to memory and mood regulation.
It's interesting how this echoes those broader discussions about biohacking and personalized nutrition we hear more about now.
It does. There's this growing understanding that what we put in our bodies profoundly impacts our cognitive abilities.
While individual needs vary, the principle holds. Nurture your internal environment for cognitive health.
Exactly. Take proactive steps.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot. Cutting brain drainers, fueling the engine. What's the big picture takeaway for navigating 2025?
The really empowering message here is that mental fogginess, declining memory, you don't have to just accept it as part of modern life. It's not inevitable.
Especially now.
Right. In this fast-paced, sometimes unpredictable 2025 landscape, your brain is truly your most valuable asset.
So these small, consistent changes.
Removing harmful influences, prioritizing brain-boosting activities and nutrients. It's not just a short-term fix.
It's building long-term resilience, adaptability.
Yes, you're unlocking new levels of performance, personal and professional, that are crucial for thriving in the years ahead.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on supercharging your brain for 2025, maybe we can leave you with this thought.
Imagine that untapped potential in your own mind.
Yeah, what could you achieve? What challenges could you overcome? What could you create if your brain was consistently firing on all cylinders?
These small science-backed actions aren't just about focus today.
They're an investment in the most powerful tool you own, your brain, unlocking a future with sharper thinking, better memory.
Boundless possibilities. What new doors could open for you?
That's the deep dive for this week.